Welcome to episode 4, and here's an introduction of the British Parliamentary Format, or the British Parliamentary Debate Format. So in the British Parliamentary Format, we have two sides. So we have the government and we have the opposition. But what's weird is that we have two sides, but there are four teams inside this debate format. So let me introduce to you the four teams that we see in the British Parliamentary Format. So the four teams are, first, there's opening government. Second, there's opening opposition. Third is closing government, and last is closing opposition. So moving forward, let's just refer to them as OG, OO, CG, and CO. And in those teams, each team has two members or two debaters in each team. So for government bench, we have the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. We can refer to them as PM and DPM. And we call them the opening government, as if you remember. The second one is the opening opposition. So we have the leader of opposition and the deputy leader of opposition. So we can refer to them as LO and DLO. In closing government, we have the member of government and the government whip. We can call them MG or GW. And in the last team, the closing opposition, we have the member of opposition and the opposition whip. So the question is, if there are four teams and 8 debaters in each round, what is the goal of each team? So I'd like to say that the goal of each team, the goal of each team is to outrank teams and accumulate enough points as much as possible. And the question then becomes, if their goal is to outrank each team and to accumulate as much points as possible, the question then is, how are teams ranked in a round? So usually there's an odd number of judges who gets to decide which team gets first place, second place, third place, and last place, right? So if we assume that each team, there's a first, second, third, fourth, they also accumulate a number of points each round. So here you go. So the team that ranks first in the round, decided by the judges, will get 3 points. The second placer will get 2 points. The third placer will get 1 point, and the fourth place will get a donut. Yay! Now, the question then is, the next thing is, how do teams generally accumulate points and outrank other teams? And with that, I'd like to introduce the idea that let's start with this. So there are two halves of the debate, right? There are two halves of the debate. There's the opening half, which is the opening government and opening opposition, and closing half, CG and CO. So let's all first focus with the opening half, right? OG and OO. So if a team is in the opening half, I'd like to say that they have 3 goals. So the first goal, I'm just going to get my notebook. So the first goal number 1, is to win the exchange with the opposing team in the opening half. So for example, if your team is in opening government, you want to win the exchange or the debate between opening government and opening opposition. Vice versa, if you're in opening opposition, one of your goals is to make sure that you are better than opening government. The second goal is to attempt to starve the closing team of the same side as you. So for example, if you're in opening government, that's CG. If you're opening opposition, that's closing opposition, right? So the second goal is to starve the closing team of the same side as you of presenting new and important ideas to the debate. So for example, what happens is that when one of the reasons why closing teams or the closing half would lose is because they could not provide new ideas towards the debate. So for example, opening government and opening opposition provided like relevant and great ideas, and closing government and closing opposition couldn't provide like new and relevant ideas. Usually the opening teams win at that point in time. There are more different scenarios. I'll explain that later, but that's the second goal, is to attempt to starve the closing team of the same side as you in presenting new and important, significant ideas to the debate. So the last goal is, I believe, is to present, for the opening half, is to present comprehensive and quality material like argumentations and rebuttals that can be compared as better to all of the teams in the round. Why is this so? Because opening houses can't rebut closing houses, while closing houses can respond to opening houses. Thus, opening houses intend to be comprehensive to give closing houses a harder time to disprove their arguments at the end. All right, so that's my simple way of sharing what is the goal if your team is in the opening half. Now, for the closing half. If a team is in the closing half, I'd like to say that there are three main goals for if you're like either closing government or closing opposition. So the first goal is that they must extend the debate and not rehash the ideas of the opening team from the same side. So what do I mean by extend? By extend, when you provide an extension, the simplest way I can explain it is that you provide, number one, a new idea regarding the debate, but secondly, it must be important within the context of the debate. If you are in the closing half and you just copied the arguments of the opening half, that means that it's a rehash, meaning that those ideas and arguments that you just explained again will be credited to the opening half. So that the first goal is for you to extend the debate and not rehash the ideas of the opening team. The second goal, if you are in the closing half, is to respond to the ideas of the opposing side, right? So for example, if you are in closing government, you must respond to the ideas of both opening opposition and closing opposition, and you must explain why, number one, their arguments are rebutted, but secondly, why like their arguments aren't that important, and lastly, like why you are more significant, which leads me to the last goal of the closing half, which is to demonstrate why their extension, their new and important ideas, are the most significant ideas inside the debate. So that's one way to explain how do teams generally accumulate points and outrank other teams within a British parliamentary round. All right. So there are like 6 outcomes that could happen in terms of how the judges rank you. So there's the opening win, closing win, government win, opposition win, the short cross, and the long cross. I'll explain one by one. All right. So when we say opening win, it means that the opening houses in the debate were ranked first and second. So these are interchangeable. Second and first, and third and fourth, right? That's why it's an opening win, because these two outranked, the opening houses outranked the closing half. So if in the scenario that the closing half outranked the opening half, then that we would call that a closing win. All right, so here's an example of a closing win, right? So maybe like closing government and closing opposition ranked first and second, or vice versa, and opening government and opening opposition ranked third and fourth in the round. So that's a closing win. Usually, this is when the closing half has proven why their arguments are way more relevant and way more significant than the opening half, or they were just really strong as well in terms of how they responded and disproved the ideas of the opening government and opening opposition. So another outcome that you can see in a British parliamentary debate is what we call the government win. So here's an example of a government win. All right, so in this case, when the government gets first and second and vice versa, like opening government and closing government gets first and second, or vice versa, and opposition gets fourth and third in the debate. So that's what we call a government win. And an opposition win just simply looks like this. I gotta learn some digital editing soon, so I wouldn't use paper anymore. But yeah, this is what it looks like. Opposition gets first and second. It can be interchanged. And government gets fourth and third, which can also be interchanged, right? So we also have the short cross. So the short cross will be, what does the short cross mean? It means that one team from the opening side, from the opposite side, and one team from the closing side. And that means at the end, it's also about opening opposition and closing government gets the first and second in the round. We call that a short cross. I'll explain next time why it's called a short cross and the other one is called the long cross. And the last outcome that you can see in terms of the ranks in the British Parliamentary Format is what we call the long cross. And what the long cross looks like is this. When opening government and closing opposition either gets first and second. All right, so I'll just explain why it's a short cross and a long cross. So the reason why this is a long cross is because the first and second are like there's a cross but are far away from each other, because there has to be opening government, opening opposition, closing government, and closing opposition. But the reason why the other one is called a short cross is when we talk about opening opposition and closing government is because after opening opposition is done speaking, it's closing government who's next. That's why the time between they interact is shorter. So yeah, 6 outcomes: opening win, closing win, gov win, opposition win, short cross, and long cross. So yeah, that's essentially the boring parts of the British Parliamentary Format that I'm sick and tired explaining again and again. So call this, I'll never have to explain it ever again. I'll just have to make people or my students or other people watch this video. And if you are a debater and you have felt that I've missed crucial parts, I highly encourage you to type in the comments below what are the other things that new debaters that are learning British parliamentary must learn about in terms of introducing that format. With all that said, I'm Coach Bolo, and I'm really super happy to provide you some debate education and value in your day. Thanks.